Hello. Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
You told me to shush.
No, not you, them.
Oh. Hi.
Shush! Sorry, Dan, go ahead.
Welcome to
I won't cut you off, I promise.
The Prism Files. Today we're going to talk about Mousetrap.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Prism Files. I'm your host, Varys Connolly, and I'm here with...
Me.
And thanks for showing up. Today's episode, we're talking about, as my co-host said, Mousetrap.
Yeah.
Let's dive in. So, y'all might be wondering to yourselves, Varys, yeah, what's up? Where did the idea for this project come from? Ooh, that's an interesting question. That takes me back in the far-off year of 2020.
1985.
Let's go back, shall we?
The cell phone. Oh.
Dan gets interrupted by a flashback transition.
I didn't come with you in the time for transition.
And now, for some reason, I talk like this, because we're back in 1985 thanks to this moron.
What are you, a 40s radio announcer that lives in the 80s? Like what?
No, that was like a 1920s like gold panning person.
A panner?
Yeah. Anyway, so the idea for Mousetrap predates. Well, it began. It didn't. Let's start over. In the year 2020, I had a friend by the names of James Hurley. You might know him. You might not. Yes. The applause.
Yes.
Let's all applaud. So as you may know, this podcast is so professionally constructed. Don't worry about it.
Oh, yeah. It's not like we're tired or anything.
No, absolutely not. So James Hurley came up with an idea to... Oh, Dan's flashing his Mousetrap merch.
Yeah. It's not even merch. It's just my cast and crew shirt.
You're right. It's not merch. You can't buy it. Sorry.
Nope. That's just for me and me alone.
Yeah. Just Dan. Only Dan got it.
Only me. No one else on the crew got it.
No,
just me.
Not a single other person. It's not like I can't go home and grab mine.
Nope.
So James Hurley had an idea to make a pilot called Victoria Journey Through the Stars, to which I was a writer on it. I then ended up becoming a graphic designer, actor, and basically the co-director for it by the time we actually got around to filming it. So that was fun. Yep. Dan was also in it. He played a bodyguard.
I did.
And he played a really good bodyguard, and I'm pretty sure you were the funniest part of the whole pilot.
I got my head smashed in like midway through.
I wrote jokes that were less funny than Dan's like acting ability. Like I don't know what it was. It's just Dan plays bodyguard really well.
I play either henchman or evil guy, usually pretty decently.
Yeah, which is funny because Dan plays the villain in Mousetrap. If you've seen it, if you haven't seen Mousetrap, go ahead and go watch it. It's on Bioprism Studios. Which, if you're on YouTube, perfect. You're already here. Go check it out. But yeah, no, Dan plays a really good villain, and it was funny because our mother was like, why is Dan always playing the villain? Put him in a hero role.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like...
I also looked at her dead in the eyes because I'm like, I'm a good villain.
Dan's a good villain. Dan plays a very good villain.
Yeah.
But it was that thing, too, where I was like, Dan's about to play one of the most important roles in the anthology in, like, maybe like a year-ish. So don't worry. Your time will come. You get to be the hero.
I was fine being the villain.
That's fine. Like, you can keep being the villain.
Yeah. I will continue to be spinning like a villain.
Yeah. Anyway, so to kind of tie back to Victoria for a second. So obviously, we planned on filming this project back in 2020, but then the craziest thing you'll never believe happened. And so it got delayed until 2021. This whole project was meant to be seriously toned, but we ran into some writing and filming difficulties with it because of that. Because if you don't know my content and you don't know me and you're new here, first of all, hello, thank you for tuning in. And second of all, I'm a comedy writer.
Yeah.
I can't really write, like, I can write serious stuff, but it's not my forte. I'm very good at writing comedy, and I'm good at making serious tones within a comedy, but I can't write, like, The Batman or anything like that.
Are you kidding me? That movie was a comedy.
That movie was utterly hilarious.
Yeah.
So the project itself turned out okay.
Just okay.
It turned out okay.
Yeah. It was fine.
I liked all of the parts that I contributed to it. There were some parts that I wish were done a little better, but in the end, it was okay.
Yeah.
After completing that project, I really wanted to make. Oh, also, I did I mention I acted in that? I was like one of the key parts in that script because I was writing the dynamic between Victoria and her boyfriend Sam.
Yeah.
And I was like, there needs to be a third party here. And so I basically wrote myself into the script by accident, and like half by accident, half on purpose, because I needed a certain type of character, and it just so happens that I play that character very well. So it was like half an accident, half on purpose. The director of the project agreed with me, James. He was like, yeah, I agree with you, but you did basically just write yourself in. I was like, yeah, you're right. But it called for it, and it made it funnier, so I'm not sorry.
It did nothing but add to it.
Right. So I was like, no, yeah, this works. And like, I feel like that even if I didn't play it, it still would have added to it really well. So didn't have to be me.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say one more addition to that was that I don't think I was also supposed to be casted for this either.
No, you were.
Was I? Because this seemed very last minute.
No, you were supposed to be cast in it, but there were supposed to be like 4 other guards.
Right.
Like, so we were supposed to have like 4 additional people, and then
that just didn't happen.
Some funny stuff happened, and that didn't end up happening.
Because I remember getting a text on the day being like, hey, Dan, can you like come up to James's place and be a henchman?
I think you were supposed to. I think you were an idea that I had for a henchman, but then somebody else was supposed to come do it, but then they bailed last minute, so I had to text you. So, like, I think you were supposed to be a henchman, but then your role got dropped, and somebody else was going to come in to just be the one henchman, and then they like canceled last minute, so I had to call you. I think is what happened.
Maybe.
If I remember correctly.
I don't know.
The whole project is a blur because it happened in 2021.
I don't remember specifically. All I remember is that I remember receiving text or call that day and being super confused. Like, what what?
Yeah.
What?
So
like, I was working that day. Like,
right.
I literally went home after work. I literally left. Excuse me. And to go up there. And then that was a weird experience. Although that was absolutely worth it because some of the scenes we filmed with me in it were awesome.
Yeah, they were funny. I liked them a lot. So after completing this project, I wanted to make my own pilot project because I had made somebody else's, and I was like, I want to make my own now. And so, but this time I wanted it to be completely comedy-based, and I wanted the plot to make absolutely no sense, but also make sense at the same time.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it would feature 2 game designers who are trying to get their startup off the ground and wind up getting hired for criminal activity, and they're weirdly good at it.
Yeah.
That was the basic plot of Mousetrap that I came up with, and I just ran with it. And I'm glad I did because it's a funny concept.
Yep.
But, so in Mousetrap's humble beginnings, so this was written in, I believe, 2021. Like the first draft of it, I believe, was written in 2021, and then we
shortly after Victoria.
Yeah,
I don't know how shortly after, but like shortly after.
It was pretty shortly after because the premiere for Victoria was in like September.
It was like in October, August. I think.
Was it?
I think so.
No, that was Mousetraps. Was October.
Well, Mousetrap was also October. I think
no. That premiered. I think in like August, didn't it?
I thought it was October.
I don't remember.
I don't know. I'd have to look.
You might be right, but I can't remember.
No clue.
But Mousetrap was written in 2021 and then it was filmed in 2022 and was released on Halloween of 2022 with a special premiere at BCAT the previous week before it came out. Yes. Applaud for BCAT. We love BCAT. Thank you so much for letting me film Mousetrap. But I will get to that in a second.
Yes.
So Mousetrap was supposed to release in August. That didn't happen. We had a delay in filming, and the editing process took a lot longer than we thought. So yeah,
so much longer.
So we had to delay it by 2 months.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's partially on me because I was also editing for Cartridge Crusaders during that time.
Yeah, and you have a full-time job. No one blames you, Dan. It's fine.
Yeah, it's still. I mean,
perfectly
I'm still
fine.
bummed out by it, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, I'm also a victim of circumstance. Is that the phrase?
I think so, yeah. But also, I'm really glad we took more time with it.
Yeah, so it could turn out better.
Yeah. So it did turn out a lot better because we took our time with it. So I'm glad. I am glad that we had to delay it because I think it came out a lot better.
Yeah, because if we rushed through it, it would have been a lot harder.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
This also came out the same time as the Multi-Circus. It was the same year. And
Yes, it did.
the Multi-Circus was the first time that we ever saw Chris Feller in the live action dimension of the Multi-Circus. So that was the first time we were introduced to the Mousetrap universe.
Although he was shrouded in darkness.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys.
Well, if anything, that almost added to the tone by accident.
Well, because it was very threatening.
It was very, threatening. Dark.
And then you get context, and it's not at all.
Yeah, no.
And I think that's hilarious because in Mousetrap, that whole scene is a lot brighter.
Yeah, because he's like, what?
Yeah, it's a lot brighter, and it's like funnier, and it's like you kind of already have context for it, so it's not dark anymore. But in the Multi-Circus, it's scary and it's dark. It's like, where am I? What's going on? So it's kind of funny, the duality of man.
And if I'm not mistaken, in the Multi-Circus, I did the voice for Warren.
Yes, Dan did the voice for Warren in the Multi-Circus.
While Michael was back to doing Warren in Mousetrap, because obviously, he's Warren.
Right, he was supposed to be Warren, but we didn't have him, so we had Dan do it. Which is funny, because we had to record an audio line of Michael saying, Chris, come here, for Mousetrap.
Yeah, we had to do that separately because we forgot to do it, I think, on filming day.
Yeah, we did. We forgot to do that.
I'm surprised we didn't just have him, downstairs, just kind of, scream the thing from the basement.
Well, because he wasn't there.
Was he not there during that?
For Multi-Circus, no.
Not at all for the Multi-Circus bit?
No, he wasn't there at all. That was me and you on a random, Tuesday at, 6 p.m. trying to record that.
Hold on, are you talking about
No,
Wait.
I'm talking about, listen,
In
the
the-
Multi-Circus.
that version of the scene?
That version of the scene is you as Warren.
Oh, no, I was talking about the Mousetrap version of...
Because we didn't catch that until post-production.
Okay.
That's why.
That's what that was.
We didn't catch him not saying that till post-production.
Right, and then we were like, oh, nuts.
Yeah, and we made it work, and I'm sure a lot of you couldn't even tell, which is good because that was the point. But, yeah, so that's what happened with that. But the whole reason this project even was allowed to get made was because I was an intern for BCAT during this time. And the executive director of BCAT, Jen Dodge, allowed me to film the pilot as a part of my internship at the very end of it. So thank you, Jen. We very much appreciate that. This also meant that the pilot would be able to air on YouTube on Bioprism Studios, as well as BCAT's Airways. So if you get BCAT where you are, you can watch it if it ever airs again. Plus, I got to make a cinema series for Mousetrap, which is available on BCAT's YouTube, so if you want to go check that out.
Yeah.
A cinema series is essentially just me doing a slideshow of basically the history and context for Mousetrap. So basically what we're doing right now, but with visual aid. So if you don't want to listen to this and you want a visual version, you can head over to BCAT's YouTube channel, look up Mousetrap Cinema Series, and watch that.
Yeah.
It was pretty good, except my quality was terrible because I was an idiot and didn't put it on correctly.
Oops.
But other than that, it's pretty good.
Yeah. Also check out the thing that Varys did with Back to the Future, because that might be on there too, right?
No, that's okay.
What do you mean?
No, that's okay.
I thought that was awesome.
I look like a clean-shaven child. Don't watch that.
Yeah, but I look like a...
Don't watch that. No, it's fine. You can watch it. Go ahead. If you look up cinema series Back to the Future, Dan and I did a whole presentation where we dressed up as Doc and Marty.
Yeah.
And then we had a whole bit prepared, and we had a whole video filmed where we drove to BCAT And then once the video ended, I ran into the presentation space as if that was like live.
Yeah.
And it was cool and it was fun, and you can go watch it over on BCAT YouTube.
Yeah. And then I ran in and I'm like, Marty, we have to go back. And then I ran
out
off stage.
Yeah, at the end of the presentation.
Yeah.
It was cool.
It was cool.
And the person who usually runs the cinema series, his name is Chris Flaherty. He was also in Mousetrap. He was the news reporter.
He was.
He wasn't upset with me. He was like jokingly upset with me because I one-upped every other cinema series he's ever done. And I thought that was the funniest thing in the world.
Sorry, Chris.
Sorry, Chris. Anyway, back to Mousetrap.
Yes.
So the tones and moods of Mousetrap. So originally the story involved Chris and Warren getting hired for a body burial job, which would have them witness a murder at point blank, and that was going to be like in the middle of the episode. In the middle of the episode, there's going to be just like a complete tone shift to the episode. It's going to start off very happy, very jaunty, and then there's a complete tone shift and it gets very dark and serious.
Yep.
That was what the original intention was.
I remember us like literally walking through planning of like, all right, how is this murder going to take place? How are we going to get that to be visually murdery without actually seeing bullets and holes?
Right. And I had the idea of like fake blood being splashed on my character or both of our characters and then just my character. And I was going to wear a white t-shirt so it was more obvious.
Yeah.
But we didn't end up doing that, as you can tell from the finished pilot.
Yeah. I literally just thought of a way to possibly do that. And that's literally get a like thing of tubing, like plastic tubing. Like
put,
enough, put fake blood in it and then like put like someone's mouth on it and just...
Yeah, because it would have sprayed.
It would have sprayed.
If we got the right material, it would have. Because you need the right material for it to shotgun like that.
Exactly. That's true.
Yeah.
Imagine getting like PVC pipe that like can fit around your mouth and just...
Yeah, just... Boom.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
just...
Yeah.
Because it has to be instant. It can't be like a fountain.
Yeah, no, it had to be instant. And like, I was originally going to have somebody with like a bucket and just kind of like...
Spray it.
Like, kind of spray
dump it.
Like, basically, like, whip it at me, but it just... Yeah, we didn't... Anyway, we didn't do it anyway. We didn't have to worry about it. I didn't have to ruin any clothes.
That is true. So
that was good.
That did not happen. We would have had to go through like 8 outfit changes.
Yeah, that would have been awful. But I have it written here that I then stopped trying to be edgy and dropped this idea in favor of a more Looney Tunes style comedy plotline, which suits my style much better.
Yeah.
I believe in my presentation I said I stopped trying to be an A24 shock value director. Was basically what I'm pretty sure I said, like a shock jock value direct, like A24 director. I basically dropped that because I really wanted it to be like jarring, and then I was like, I don't need it to be jarring, I just need it to be good. And so I dropped it and I made a plot line that was a lot more silly. So the story would change to Chris and Warren being part-time criminals who only did crime to stop crime for the mayor.
Yeah.
Which is a lot sillier.
It is.
But it fits the vibe of the project much more.
It does. It really does. And I think it comes across a lot more fun and jaunty.
Yeah.
It's like something anyone can tune into as opposed to just, that whole tone shift of like, oh no,
Yeah.
they're dead and we have to deal with it now.
What was that? You described the Mousetrap. I don't know if it was the Mousetrap theme song or another song, but you described it as like raunchy haunt or something. Do you remember what it was?
Haunchy?
No, that wasn't it.
Raunchy, haunted, raunchy.
It was you said something. I wrote it down somewhere. I can't remember. Where
It was like jaunty. It was like jaunty haunt.
Jaunty haunt. Yeah,
Jaunty
jaunty
haunted.
haunt. Yeah, jaunty haunt. That's what it was. I think that's how you described the Mousetrap soundtrack,
Something like that.
which describes it perfectly.
Yeah.
And I loved that.
No, or was it haunty jaunty?
It was something something. There was only one Y.
Maybe it was
I
haunty.
think it was jaunty haunt. That sounds correct.
I think it would have been haunty jaunt.
No, I don't think so, because I remember you saying jaunty haunt, and I was like, that is literally perfect. And haunty jaunt does not sound...
That doesn't sound like... Well, I'm thinking in terms of like what I would say in terms of diction. I probably would have said haunty jaunty or jaunty haunty.
I remember you saying verbatim jaunty haunt, because I remember you saying that and it stuck in my head. Because if you didn't say it like that, I would have remembered.
I may have immediately afterwards said, like, Jaunty Haunty.
I think you just said Jaunty Haunt.
I love how we're arguing about one phrase I said.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, my brain works in quotes. That's just how my brain works. And I remember that was, like, a perfect moment of the way you described it. Like, I don't remember you slipping up at all. I remember you just saying, oh, yeah, Jaunty Haunt.
Well, I didn't slip up. I just, in my brain, I'm like, what if... And
But in my brain, if you had said Jaunty Haunty, I would have been like, that sounds weird. Like, I don't know if I don't like the wording of that. But you said Jaunty Haunt, and I was like, oh, I love how that's worded. So that's what I remember, is I remember you just saying Jaunty Haunt. So I'm like, that is perfect. I don't remember there being a moment where I was like, you didn't, I don't know. I don't like how that's worded. Like, I don't know. It's just weird. I don't know. Maybe you did, but I'm pretty sure you said it. In my mind, I think you said it perfectly.
Well,
like, to make it click with me the first try.
Well, in my mind, I remember it being said differently. But either way...
Jaunty Haunt.
Yeah.
There you go. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
So, the plan had holes. Mousetrap is a very popular name.
Yep.
The Hasbro game, Snoop Dogg has a movie called Mousetrap, apparently.
That's a Snoop Dogg movie?
There is a Snoop Dogg movie called Mousetrap.
What?
Yeah. And apparently, according to our dad, there's also a movie called Mousetrap that has almost the exact same premise that released like 60 years ago or something like that.
Yeah, it was like in the 60s or something like that. Yeah.
Which is awesome.
That's just, I remember seeing that and I'm like, oh my God. This is clearly a fantastic premise because someone has done it before.
Or a horrible one because no one remembers it. So I don't know.
Could be either, really.
Research is very important, but I was already married to the name, so
So no.
deal with it.
Yeah.
A solid iron cast. We had me as Chris Feller. We had Michael as Warren Dynamo. We had a volunteer BCAT named Juliana. She played Missy Dynamo. Dan was Dave.
I was dead.
James played the mayor, and Chris played the news reporter. And yes, those are their names, by the way.
What? Oh, yeah. So the mayor's name is the mayor.
Yep, and
the news reporter's name is the news reporter.
Yeah, those are their names. Like, canonically, those are their names.
Yep.
And then Mousekewitz was almost a real mouse. And then that didn't happen, so...
Did we almost get a real mouse?
I thought about it, yeah. That was in the plans, is to get a real mouse.
Oh.
Like a trained mouse.
Where were we going to get a trained mouse?
Well, you're starting to see the problem as to why it didn't happen, Dan.
All right, fair enough.
Also, Chris didn't want a live mouse on set.
Chris didn't want a live set.
Chris didn't want a mouse on set, even though he wasn't even there anyway. But
I was
like,
going to say, like, what?
well, because I think originally, because when I pitched him the idea, he was like, there isn't going to be a mouse on set, is there? I was like, no. But I also, didn't have the pilot fully planned out yet, so I didn't know if he was going to help us film it. So, he might have been there to help film it. So I was like, oh, there won't actually be a mouse on set. So, because I wasn't going to be able to get a mouse, but also, I wanted one because I think it would have been cuter and it would have added to it.
I agree.
But unfortunately, because of Chris, and also Mom didn't want a mouse in her house.
Yeah, no.
And also, it's just I just couldn't. I wasn't going to be able to get a mouse in time. So, one day, I will own an actual pet mouse or rat or both.
And its name is going to be Mousekewitz.
It'll probably be Mousekewitz, and then one of the three names of Ryan's rats.
I love those rats.
They're amazing. So we also had a last-minute cast drop, which removed a character from the pilot entirely. So I had to rewrite the script in a day or two or something.
I remember it being a short amount of time.
Yeah, her name was Minerva. That was the character's name, and she didn't have a super big role in it, but it helped even out Dave's character. So I'm a little sad that she got removed.
Yeah,
but she was basically supposed to be Minerva, Dave's partner in crime, and Dave was supposed to be kind of the stupider one, and Minerva was supposed to be the smarter one. That was kind of the name, and it was the same as Chris and Warren, so they each kind of had their villain counterparts, if you will. But then again, unfortunately, Minerva had to get cut, so
yep.
we do not have Minerva. So the So Dan and I worked on post-production, and I worked on the scoring and soundtrack for this. So
Yes.
you're welcome.
I'm also responsible for most of the bloopers.
Yes, Dan edited the bloopers together.
Yeah.
Which is very nice. We were supposed to have BTS. We never got that footage. So we don't have BTS. Sorry.
It's a shame we couldn't get in contact with them.
Yeah, I know. Maybe the next project.
Yeah, maybe.
And we'll finally get that song with lyrics.
Yeah, finally.
No,
Although, can we
BTS is behind the scenes for anyone who doesn't know.
Yeah, not the band.
Not the band.
Not the band.
What were you
Although
going to
I
say?
would rather sigh.
What were you going to say?
That, literally
okay.
that.
Whoop. So, what are the next steps for Mousetrap? What comes next? Nothing. That's it. That's Mousetrap. That's a wrap on Mousetrap. Yeah, I know. I deserve that. Mousetrap was like more of a test project, very similar to the Multi-Circus, where it was just a test of my skills at the time, and that's all it was really supposed to be. It was just supposed to be that. It was just supposed to be, I'm going to make a pilot for a show. If it gets picked up, great. If it doesn't, whatever. It was just practice. Who cares? Yeah. And it was fun, and I liked making it, and that was it. That was all Mousetrap was supposed to be.
Yep.
Now, there is a full season plot schematic that I made just in case we ever go back to it.
Yep.
But it hasn't been like greenlit or anything.
I think we talked about one of them because the whole plot of the show was like, oh yeah, like the main villain essentially sends a bunch of other criminals against Chris and Warren.
Yeah.
One of the ones we talked about was like some criminal that was like, I'm a clam, and like sat inside the touch tank of an aquarium.
Yeah, and like spit at people.
Exactly.
Yeah, because they were pretending to be a clam.
Exactly. And then Chris and Warren came by and they're just like,
and
what?
Chris is like, oh, there they are. This is the villain and the bad guy that we're stopping today. And Warren's like, you're kidding, right? Like, that's... And it was basically going to be that type of stuff for the whole season.
Yeah.
So and then like at the very end, it was going to be very serious, where like all of the villains, if you will, from the series were going to come back at the end for like one big last episode, and like that was basically how it was going to progress.
Well, now I picture in that whole final fight, just that one character going,
yeah, just spitting,
and just oh.
But in the event that we do make a full season, I don't want to spoil what the end plot twist is, so shush and watch
the end plot twist, the one where the universe explodes.
Yeah, that one, Dan. Thanks for yeah, thanks. No, that's not.
I wish there was a boo on this one.
No, this is.
That's not cool enough.
No, it's... Anyway, so... Also, I want to preface this, that Chris and Warren will return at some point. I wish you had waited for that, because I was going to say, Chris and Warren will return, so, like, this isn't the last time that we will see them, but it's not in the way that you think. And that's where you're supposed to play it. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that is Mousetrap. Go watch it; it's cool.
Mousetrap? Mousetrap?
Perfect for game design.
Can we talk also about some of the
the quotes?
Well, that and also some of the outtakes that we've done over the course of Mousetrap.
No,
because like there was one.
Thanks for watching, guys. No, just kidding. Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say like. I remember there was one huge complication. The huge complication during filming was that not all of us picked up on discrepancies very easily because we're all like distracted in the heat of the moment, whatever it happens to be.
Yeah.
There was one scene where Dave was essentially like looking at his computer, checking his email.
Yeah.
And he was just kind of like poking around. He gets that email like, oh, we got the money or whatever.
Yeah.
So the scene that we got in the final pilot is different than what was supposed to be filmed. It was supposed to be filmed in the studio here.
It was, yeah.
And we filmed it, but the problem is I was wearing a different outfit. I was wearing a Lord of the Rings t-shirt.
Yeah. Which was not what he was wearing, and also wouldn't make sense when he came back in a gray t-shirt later in the scene.
Exactly, because I wore a gray t-shirt. All the outside film scenes were filmed at once.
Yeah.
So I am literally wearing the same outfit, same everything, in that scene. So if I wore anything different, it would be confusing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Continuity error.
Exactly. So we had to refilm that in our garage.
Yep. Because
Just
the
in the
studio
middle.
wasn't open because it was Sunday, I believe.
It was something like that. But it ended up working out, I think, because it makes more sense to me that Dave would essentially have a bunch of tools surrounding him.
Yeah.
Because A, he is a tool.
Yep.
B, he needs all those tools for crime.
Yeah. And also, it's funny to see him, like, hiding out in his garage.
Exactly.
So it does work better, but that wasn't the original plan. Also, you're supposed to be in BCAT with Minerva, so the point was that they would have a meeting spot. That was the whole, like, point.
Yeah.
But when she got cut, it didn't need to happen anymore. So
Correct.
you being in the garage did make more sense for the story, but we just didn't realize it at the time.
Yeah, it worked out for the better.
Yeah. It was like an accident that became a good thing.
Yeah.
Happy accident.
And then also, everyone that you have seen on screen in Mousetrap, that was the crew.
Yeah. No,
That's
that
it.
was the crew. I had planned for a cinematographer and an audio person and like extra hands. Like I had so many people lined up to help.
Like triple the amount of people that we had.
Yeah. No.
Yeah,
They
none.
all bailed on me.
Yep.
For one reason or another. And like they had their reasons, they had their good reasons, and that's perfectly fine. But it stinks because I had it planned out for like months and then like everyone bailed on me. And it really stunk. But the people who did show up, the people who acted, and the people who were willing to work as crew, I'm eternally grateful for. And I want to thank all of you for doing that because it means a lot to me that you actually showed up
Yeah.
to do it. So, and the people who had to bail, I get it. I understand that, again, victim of circumstance.
but at the
But
same
also,
time,
I had
it's
it
like
planned out. And you...
everything was planned out, and you had to essentially rearrange on the fly.
Yeah, it was a whole thing. And, like, some things were last minute, so I get it. But anyway, like, there was some last minute planning I had to do, and, like, figuring out the specific days was a weird thing, too. So, like, I get it. Like, maybe I picked a weekend that just was bad for you, so I understand. But anyway, point is...
But yeah, so we had all those people, like, kudos to them.
Yeah, we had
for
a very
sticking around.
bare bones skeleton crew.
Yeah.
So if you weren't in the scene, you were working.
Yeah, doing something else.
It was exhausting.
Well, except for, I think, Michael, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, Michael got a pass because he didn't know how any of the equipment worked.
Right.
So
But I was also looking at him like, oh, man, I wish that could be me.
I think he held the audio thing. I think he held the boom mic once.
Did he?
Yeah, I think he did.
know.
And then he got an audio credit for it.
I did. That's funny.
He literally jokes with me all the time. He's like, "Yeah, I held the boom mic once." I was like, "Yes, you did." But that warrants an audio credit. I don't think I held it like at all, so I didn't give myself an audio credit
As
because
far as I'm aware, you didn't.
I think I had to finagle it once. But like, I don't know. I didn't count it because I couldn't be sure. So
I
was
think
like,
you
screw it.
definitely helped like point it in certain directions, but someone else held it there.
I think I held it on the camera once,
Maybe.
but whatever. Point
I don't
is,
know. Best boy, everybody.
best boy. Michael is best boy.
Well, I was saying you, but
Oh no, Michael's best boy.
okay.
But it was a lot of fun. It was a cool project. It was exhausting. We did it over the course of 4 days. Actually, 3 days? 4 days?
4 days.
4 days?
Because it was a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Yeah.
Sunday, I think, was like the shortest day.
Yeah.
Because we just had to film whatever was left, and that was like maybe like 4 or 5 scenes.
Yeah, I believe that was just the multi-circus bit, pretty much.
That was like the multi-circus bit, and then whatever was done. I'm trying to remember if that included the infamous line with the costume changes and all that.
Which infamous line?
It's settled then.
That one, yeah.
Yeah.
That line, it's settled then, we use the game development business as a front for the money, maybe take a client or two, but in reality we would be Chris and Warren criminal heroes. That line is like...
That was my knee.
I keep hitting we've been hitting each other's knees this whole time.
It's a small table.
I know, it's a very small table, but it hasn't happened this much until this episode.
Yeah, I guess we're fidgeting a lot more.
But anyway, that line is ingrained in Michael's head. Like, it's seared into his brain.
Oh, yeah.
It took him 11 tries.
He got it on the 12th, I think,
Was
right?
it the 12th?
I believe it was the 12th.
I thought it was 11, but it took him it took him a bunch of tries to get it right. He almost got it right on the second try, and then he screwed up a bunch of times afterwards.
Yeah, that's in the bloopers, too.
It is, yeah.
Like, it's literally, you see take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I remember going up to 12, and I think the 12th was the one that he had done.
I think
And
you're right.
And I literally sent out, like, confetti, and I zoomed in, and it's like, hooray!
Yeah, the Final Fantasy music.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, and...
Because, like, as much as I'd like to give him shit for it, he was still doing his best. So...
Michael did really well.
Oh, he did!
Yeah, Michael did really well.
It was just that one line he was struggling with.
Yeah, it's a long line. I get it. It's a weirdly worded long line. So I get why it was like a pain. We had a physical script too, which was nice.
Yeah, it was good.
But it's a long line. He had a lot of, like, we call them Bible lines.
Bible lines. That makes sense.
There was, like, in Gene and Clark, there was a lot of Bible lines in Gene and Clark, but Mousetrap, there were a few, and Michael had, like, all of them. I think you and James had a few.
We had, like, one or two.
But Michael had, like, most of them, and it was insane, just to watch them, like, say these lines and try to get it right, and it was funny.
It is funny. Like, you get every once in a while just like these little bits and pieces. Like, it
was good. It was really funny. It was a good time.
That was half the fun of filming, or not filming, but like getting the bloopers from like the official reels.
Yeah,
is seeing some of the absurd things that either we say, we do, or like some of the stuff that just happens in the background.
Yeah, like what happened, like when the camera was not. It was rolling still, but like
we weren't like actively doing a take.
Yeah.
So like in the background, you'll see like there's like bits where like Michael's looking down, like, how do you want me to say it? Like, mouse.
Yeah,
mouse.
And
you just hear
mouse,
like James and you in the background going, mouse.
Yeah, mouse. Very nice, great success.
Or that thing like it's like who eats vanilla pudding? It's like, I eat vanilla pudding.
Yeah,
and then James will say like, I eat butterscotch, and then you walk on camera
and you can just go screw yourself.
Yeah.
And
that's not what's said word for word, but still.
Yeah, I just walked in and I was like, oh well, then yeah,
exactly.
It was funny.
It was perfect. It was like the perfect setup, because then you walk up and then you deliver the punchline in front of everybody.
Yeah,
it was so good.
It was good. The bloopers are really funny.
Yeah.
So go watch those too. Those are also available on Bioprism Studios.
Absolutely. They are absolutely worth a watch.
They're great.
As we've been saying in Cartridge Crusaders all this time, go watch Mousetrap. Please go watch Mousetrap.
But, yeah, also I want to first, the intro took me 11 tries to get right, like to perfect it, basically. So I animated the intro in quotes. It's technically the outro for the pilot.
I was gonna say, because I'm also thinking of the scene of the house when it just appears and then you go inside.
Yeah,
like when doo-doo. That's what I put at the beginning of it, just for something.
That was really fun. It's not in the actual pilot.
No, it's in the bloopers. It's in the bloopers,
which is
that's
good.
How the bloopers start.
That's where it should be.
Exactly.
But no, the outro animation technically for Mousetrap took me about 11 tries to really get it right. And like a lot of those versions are like tweaks to certain things, but like it was about 11, maybe a little more tries to get that right. And the song itself is like the third version of that song. Yeah. Because the first version of it was on Lo-Fi Mall, and I really liked that version. And then I made the traditionally electric version of it, and then I made like the definitive version, if you will, which is now the Mousetrap theme. And then there was one other thing that I was going to mention, and now I can't remember what it was.
Was it the text adventure?
There is that wasn't what I was going to mention, but there is a text adventure.
Yep.
called Chris Feller's Big Day. That's available on our itch.io, so make sure to head over to our itch.io and check that out.
We played it on Cartridge Crusader if you want a taste.
We did, so go ahead and go watch the Cartridge Crusaders.
Yeah, it has by far one of the funniest Cartridge Crusaders jokes I think we've ever made, and we didn't even make it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Michael's phone did. So
yeah. I was going to say Michael's dad. I think it was his dad.
Yeah. So go watch that because it's really funny. Also, if you don't want to watch the whole episode to see the funny bit, we have a short of it.
We do.
If you go to our clips playlist, it's in there, and you can just watch the short of the bit.
Yes.
And it's I can't remember what it's called, but you'll see it.
I mean, I can look it up, but
no, it's fine. They can find it.
Hey Dan, if you feel so inclined, put your voice in here.
No, don't do that.
Okay.
Now do
anyway.
it. Now do it. Hey, thanks, Dan, if you did that. If you didn't, leave the silence. So, anyway.
Yeah.
What was the other thing I wanted to mention?
I don't remember. Wait, how would I remember? I can't read your mind.
Yeah, because I didn't say it.
Yeah. Can I read your mind?
No.
Are you thinking about trees right now?
Shut up. I wasn't. What was it?
I don't know.
Now I'm upset.
So it's Mousetrap related.
It was Mousetrap related. It was about Mousetrap. I think it was something that happened.
I mean, a lot of stuff happened.
I really can't remember now. That's really... I knew I should have said it. And then I got interrupted, and now I can't remember. Crap.
Now you know what it feels like to be me.
I mean, this happens to me, but usually I'm pretty good at remembering what... Because it was about the intro... And yes, I'm going to keep calling it the intro, so deal with it.
Yeah.
It was... What the heck? Wow, I really don't remember what it is now. And that's really going to bother me. And then I'm going to remember, and I'm going to scream about it later.
I mean, we could add it in post, but...
No, that...
All right, well, let's talk about other stuff then, at least until... Maybe it'll jog your memory.
Maybe it'll jog my memory, yeah.
So
that was... God, that's so annoying.
I agree.
Yeah, so... I can't move past it.
All right, here, let me try something. So, her name was Juliana, right?
Yes.
Yes. So, her playing Missy was great.
Yes.
Like,
it's actually funny you mentioned that. Finish your thought, and then I'll...
I mean, it might play into what you're saying, so go for it.
I was just going to say that Juliana actually wasn't intended to play Missy.
No, she was supposed to play Minerva?
No.
No? Who was she supposed to do?
She was just supposed to be crew.
Oh.
She was just supposed to be camera. I was supposed to have somebody, her name was Erin. She was supposed to come in and play Missy because she looks a bit more like Michael, and like they're both really tall. Like they both look more like each other, even height-wise.
That's true. They also look more related than...
That's what I just basically said.
Well, I'm saying it in other words.
Cool. So... So she looks more like Michael, so that was kind of the point, and like I feel like she would be able to like, you know, play the Missy character really well. But just again, schedule and conflict, so she couldn't make it, so we had Juliana play Missy instead. And to be completely honest with you, like I like the Missy we got because it's kind of it's a younger version of Missy, and she feels more petty.
She does.
Then I feel like she brings like a bit more of a penniness than I think Erin would have, because I feel like Erin would have just played like the supervillain role, which is what I was looking for. But with Juliana, I feel like the way that she played the character was a lot more just like, I'm your younger sister and I'm pissed.
And also a psychic.
Yeah, and also a psychic. God, I wrote that character too well.
You wrote it too well. You got the perfect person to play her.
Yeah.
Too.
So it's like, but it's that thing where it's like, I feel like that Juliana's energy kind of fits the role a little better because she is doing this to be petty. So that's kind of like, and that's how she played the character. So I was like, oh, it's perfect.
Yeah.
So there you go.
It's perfection.
It is. It was accidental perfection.
Yeah. Sometimes the best takes are the accidental ones.
Yeah. James's voice was supposed to be way different than it actually is. He was like German, which was not what I was supposed to do. He was supposed to be like King Candy from like Wreck-It Ralph's voice.
He I know he was attempting that.
He was trying his best, and I appreciate it. But it was just German. That's what it was. It was just a stereotype German voice.
Well, not quite, because the German is more like, oh yeah, yeah.
I mean,
but like,
true, but because like I asked him, I was like, oh, can you talk like this? Can you talk like King Candy and be like, oh goodness gracious, like can you talk like that? And he's like, no, and I'm like, fair enough, just try your best. And that's what the result was. And one of my teachers in college was like, I actually love your mayor voice for him. Like, I love your mayor's voice because it's such a weird, like it's uncanny. And it fits, and it's like, and it works really well in this universe because of how like weird and uncanny it is. And I was like, listen, I am a genius.
You know how to pull everybody to get them to do the perfect thing for everything.
I got somebody who can't read to monologue in Gene and Clark.
You did. Yes, you did. But we'll get into that on the Gene and Clark episode.
When the Gene and Clark episode happens, I'll talk about that more. But somebody who pretty much, like, they can read, but, like, they can't read very well. Their literacy is, like, horrible. Like, no offense to him, but he knows it.
Yes.
He basically can't read, and he can barely spell, and I have the text to prove it. And I got him to monologue.
Yeah. And
like
really well.
And really well. And also I had him do it like 4 times. Like he has like 2 to 3 different monologues.
Yeah.
So like
he had like most of the script.
Yeah, and guess what? He's the best part of the whole pilot.
He really is.
According to audiences, he's the best part of the whole pilot, which is great. I'm happy for him. But holy crap. Like, yeah. So there you go. That speaks to his acting ability and my directing abilities. Yeah. So there you go.
You know how to pick them.
I have said this 1,000 times. I don't cast for attention. I cast for accuracy.
Yep.
I don't... If I think you can play the character, you're getting hired, and that's the end of it.
You cast like old cartoonists used to cast, where like if they could close their eyes and hear the voice actor and picture the character, you got it.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah.
If you're voice acting, I close my eyes, I can picture the character, you get the role. Done. That's it. That's simple as that.
Easy
that's
enough.
how I've always casted, and that's why you have all these, at least to me, that's why you have all these accurate voice casts and actor casts for all my projects, because that's all I do every time is I close my eyes, I think of their voice, I'm like, yep, you're that character, bring them in. Even some of my, like, supposed weaker ones, you can still argue that they are a good fit for the character.
Yeah, even if it's not entirely in voice, in attitude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, there you go. And in my head, like, oh yeah, this is what I think they sound like. So there you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that is Mousetrap.
Mousetrap?
We hope that you guys enjoyed it. It was a very, very fun process. It was interesting.
I got wicked sunburned.
Yes, Dan got wicked
day
sunburned.
One. Because we did not expect it to be as sunny as it was.
No, it's supposed to be cloudy.
Yeah, so if I had known, I would have put sunblock on. But I think you see it closer towards the end. Assuming you can see it.
I don't think you can because I adjusted the lighting and all that stuff of those scenes.
Well, if that's true, then...
So it's harder to tell.
If that's true, then thank you.
You're welcome.
But...
I didn't do it because of that.
No, I think you did it for light accuracy.
Yeah, I did it because it looked like actual garbage, so I had to like relight the scenes in Premiere.
Yeah, the sun kept coming out and then back in and then out and then back in.
Yeah, it was a mess, so I had to completely fix it, which I don't even... In the final product, I don't even think you can tell... Well, I mean, those who are trained in this can.
Oh, certainly.
But like, I don't think audiences could really tell that there was an inconsistency because of how it was. So.
Yeah. I mean, considering all the... Yeah.
Yeah. Also,
in the bloopers, you can see it because that's mostly raw.
Yeah.
So,
I didn't edit anything in those. So.
Yeah, no. That was all me.
If you worked on the cast and crew, you got a T-shirt that has a design on the front, back, and both sleeves.
Yep.
And you got a Mouskowitz plushie.
Yeah.
Which is just a little mouse, and it has a bandana on it with the logo for the show on it.
Yeah. It's one of the greatest things I've ever received.
Every cast and crew got it. And also...
Well, I shouldn't say one of the greatest thing I've ever received was the Cartridge Crusaders plush.
Ooh, yeah. We'll get into that when we talk about Cartridge Crusaders, but...
Yes.
Me, Dan, and Michael's about to get his soon.
Yeah.
We are.
Don't tell Michael though.
Don't tell Michael. We all got plushies of our caricatures.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about that on the Cartridge Crusaders episode. But yeah, everyone got a little Moskowitz plushie. And also, if you came to the premiere, I had a little quiz at the end of the premiere.
Yeah.
And if you got the most questions right, you got a Moskowitz. Unfortunately, I had to give Dan's away because they ran out of the specific mouse that I ordered off of Stuffed Safari.
Yeah.
They ran out of that mouse, so I had to sell Dan's.
Yeah.
And I felt really bad. And then I got another one for him. I just want to clarify.
You got me another one. That's
got him
why
a new
I was
one.
okay with it because for me it was like, all right, the condition would be you would get me another one when they got back in stock. That way you have more time.
And that took like 4 months for me to get a new one because
That did take a couple months.
That's how long it took for them to restock it.
Right.
But he finally has a new one.
I do have a new one. And I remember at the time you were also like, oh, I'll also get you one with like a new logo and like a bunch of new stuff. I'm like, no.
I'll personalize it more.
I literally said, no, get me the basic one because that's the one I received and that's the one I want.
And I was like,
I
all right.
fought you tooth and nail on that.
Yeah, you had to fight me on that one because I really wanted to get you a special one, but that's fine.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, no. And I firmly wanted the original one because that's what I received. That's what I was happiest getting.
Yep.
I don't want anything special because that makes me feel like I don't deserve that.
I mean, you do, but I see your point, though.
In terms of what everybody did in the cast and crew, I do not deserve that.
But you do.
No.
You do.
Not in terms of... Okay, in terms of this project, I do not deserve that.
How about this? I disagree with you, but
I disagree with you.
But I see your point. So, it's
okay.
fine.
We will agree to disagree.
Yes.
Okay. What did you say?
Make sure to cut that out. That's to keep you on your toes. Make sure you're paying attention.
We both said really bad words.
Yeah. But what did we say? We said... Make sure to cut both of those out.
No.
Anyway, if any of you know Diane from the Cartridge Crusaders, she's the one who got the mouse, by the way. Just as a quick side note.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
Anyway, thank you guys so much for listening to the Prism Files. We greatly appreciate you guys tuning in.
Yes.
Make sure you go watch Mousetrap. Make sure you like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Like us on Spotify and like us on Facebook. Facebook?
What?
What the heck did that come?
Like us on Facebook
and follow us on Twitter. That is exactly where that came from.
We've been watching too much Judge Judy.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Please like us on YouTube. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Ring that bell.
Do it.
Do it. Ring that bell.
Please. Guys?
All right. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next Prism Files episode.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. See you guys.